Aloha. Your favorite friend with questionable character, Aloha, Mr. Han, with a little Saturday morning update. Brought to you by our friends at From the 108 and, of course, Jack Daniels. So I wanted to hop on just to talk about Tony LaRussa a little bit. Now I'm going to start this by saying this, and I want to be crystal clear. I want no misinterpretation of this. I am talking about the reasons for hiring Tony LaRussa. I am not going to get into the semantics of what's going on with his drunk driving charge. Not conviction yet, charge. And if I don't speak strongly enough for some of you because you feel that I am condoning drunk driving, read my lips. I do not condone drunk driving. I am never condoned drunk driving. Understand that, but I am not getting into that subject today. So I want that perfectly clear with what I'm about to talk about. So, why did the White Sox hire Tony LaRussa? Well, first off, let me say to all you people who thought Hinch or Alex Cora, primarily Hinch, was going to be the next manager, what were you thinking? Anyone and their mother who's followed this team for more than a week could have told you that was not going to happen, that Jerry would never sign off on that. I was telling everyone who would listen, Jerry would never sign off on it, and everyone just seemed to dismiss me. Oh, this is a new thing. No, it's not. This was one thing he was not going to budge on. But why LaRussa? I think LaRussa was brought in for two very specific reasons. Ricky Renteria was brought in as, and I'm going to use a Bulls analogy in explaining this. And yes, I'm that old that I remember this. Ricky Renteria is Doug Collins. He was the point A to point B guy. Get them from losing to becoming a team on the rise. I think that's where Ricky Renteria fell. Did Ricky Renteria deserve to be fired? I think he did. I think it was a tale of two seasons with Ricky. I think on the day they clinched the playoff spot, he had my vote for manager of the year. He did. I think he had a solid chance at being manager of the year on that day. What happened from that day to the end of the season, because remember, voting takes place before the playoffs begin. I think that's where he got fired. With the way the team responded after they clinched the division, they let up. They gave up. Even Jose Abreu admitted that they let up. And I can tell you the exact moment where I demanded Ricky get fired. It's the exact moment I can tell you. When he brought Yolmer Sanchez in to pitch against the Cubs on that Friday night game. Now, I am not the big... Let me rephrase that. I think Yolmer's a good player, but Yolmer was Ricky's security blanket. He was his nitty, if you want to call it that. And my feeling was that there were three players who epitomized this lost decade of White Sox baseball. You could probably say four, but there's three primary ones. And that is Nate Jones was one, Jose Quintana, and Yolmer Sanchez. They epitomized this last decade of lost baseball. And the fourth I would say is probably Gordon Beckham in there as well. Because there's a lot of losing associated with those players. You could say the same thing for Jose Abreu, but Jose Abreu always brought it. He always produced. He was the one shining light in an otherwise awful decade. So when getting back to what I was talking about, when Ricky brought in Yolmer Sanchez, that's when he lost me. It was the exact moment he lost me. And if you go back through my timeline and read, you can see I say it. What is this? Ricky needs to be fired now. And it's not because it was against the Cubs. Sorry, you're trying to get in shape for the playoffs, play competitive baseball, and you weren't playing competitive baseball at that point in time. So that is where he lost me, and I think that's where he lost the Manager of the Year award, and I think that's where he got, quote-unquote, fired. And yes, you can blame Rick Hahn, saying, Rick Hahn left him sort of not a lot of options when it comes to pitching and everything else, because I know everybody, including myself, including many other people I know, could not figure out why Rick did not go out and trade for some form of pitching at the trade deadline. You didn't have to go get Lance Lynn or anything like that. If you look at some of the deals that were made for pitching at the trade deadline, there wasn't a large cost associated with it. Obviously, Texas did not want to trade Lance Lynn because he's still there, and I think some of the offers, some of the names that they were throwing out, I think either A, Texas did not want to trade him, or B, Texas wildly overestimated Lance Lynn's value. Well, we'll never know the true answer to that, which one it was. So, but why bring LaRussa in? As I said, I think Renteria is the A to B guy. LaRussa's the B to C guy. LaRussa's brought in to apply the finishing touches. He is brought in to serve as the guy who, does the minor tweaks. Don't do this, do that. This is the kind of thing. He's won three World Series. Managed in 6 of them. Not bad. He's basically, think about it this way. He's basically won more World Series in his career than the Cubs and Sox have combined in 100 years. Or, another way to put it, he himself has won as many World Series, 3, as the Sox have in their existence, as the Cubs have in their existence. Think about that. So, this is a move done for 2 reasons. I think it's here, A, as I said, to go from B to C and apply those finishing touches to the roster. And I believe it's also to serve as a mentor to the apprentice that will soon be named as the bench coach. I think that what the White Sox wanted to do, I think the White Sox know that, obviously everyone knows that Tony LaRussa's shelf life is short. We're talking a couple, 3 years tops probably. And that the person who's identified as the bench coach, and I would also hope that it's not only the bench coach, but the third base coach too, should be heir apparent to the job and therefore learning at the feet of the master. Because remember, say what you want about Tony, number 3 all time in manager victories. Number 3. Most likely going to be number 2 by the end of 2021, barring any unforeseen circumstances. And there's a lot of different ways you could take that statement. And I shouldn't say likely. It should be a foregone conclusion that he will be, barring any unforeseen circumstances. So that's part of the reason why this was done. I think that the coaching staff announcement, which is rumored to be coming this week, I mean, we already know Ethan Katz is the pitching coach. It sounds like Debo, Kurt Hassler, and Menachino are staying, and then fill in the pieces. I honestly believe that Joe McEwing is going to stay, because this is public knowledge. Tony is a huge Joe McEwing fan from Joe's days playing for Tony in St. Louis in the late 90s and early 2000s. There's a story about Tony has a pair of Joe spikes in his house or something weird like that, because he likes the guy so much. So that's what I think is the reason why LaRussa was hired. I think he's there to apply the finishing touches and to mentor the next White Sox manager, which, not a bad guy to learn from. I mean, say what you want about him. 3rd most in manager victories of all time. Going to be 2nd by the end of 2021. Not a bad guy to learn from. And he will stay 2nd, by the way. He will never reach number 1 because Connie Mack's ahead of him by like 1,000 more victories. So I don't see Tony reaching that plateau. So I wanted to throw that out there as well. Hopefully we find out this week who the coaching staff is in the full picture. Hopefully the White Sox can jump the market and get an early signing. Hopefully it's someone of some importance. I do know that Herb Lawrence had posted a question on Twitter yesterday asking, would you rather have Trevor Bauer or George Springer? And I answered Bauer. And the reason I answer that is because I think there is less high level pitching than there is high level offense. I mean, yes, you may not get Springer, but there's other possibilities you can pursue. Whereas with Bauer, it really drops off after that. So that's why I answered Bauer. But I hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone is staying safe. Have a great weekend. I'm going to go back and watch some more of the Masters now and think about and wish how I could hit the ball like some of these guys. But take care, everyone. Talk to you later. Bye.